My roommate had bed bugs for 5 months and told me they were just mosquito bites until I woke up covered in welts and found the infestation had spread to my bedroom. I scratched my arm raw at 3 a.m. and turned on the light. Tiny brown dots scattered across my pillowcase like someone had flicked a pen. I pulled back the fitted sheet and found them crawling along the seam of my mattress. Dozens, maybe more. My skin went cold, and I stood in the center of my room in my underwear trying not to scream. I knocked on Sophie's door. She opened it looking half asleep and not remotely surprised. I think we have bed bugs. She scratched her neck. Oh, yeah, I've had some bites for a while. I figured they were mosquitoes. For how long? She shrugged. Since like September? It was February. You've had bites for 5 months and didn't say anything? I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. They don't really bother me that much. I walked past her into her room and pulled back her duvet. The mattress was stained brown in patches. The headboard had clusters of them nesting in every crack and screw hole. Her room was ground zero, and she'd been sleeping in it every night, like it was normal. My hands were shaking. Sophie, this is an infestation. They're just bugs. We can get some spray. Spray doesn't work on bed bugs. How do you know? Because I'm not insane. I called our landlord at 7 a.m. He answered on the 6th ring, sounding annoyed. I told him we had bed bugs and needed professional treatment immediately. Are you sure they're not fleas? Do you have pets? We don't have pets. They're bed bugs. I can see them. Well, I'll send someone to take a look next week. Next week? They're in both bedrooms. They're spreading. These things take time. I'll get back to you. He didn't get back to me. I called again Monday, then Wednesday, then Friday. Each time he said he was looking into it or waiting to hear back from the pest company. Meanwhile, I was sleeping on the kitchen floor in a sleeping bag because I couldn't go back into my room. Sophie was still sleeping in her bed. I asked her how, and she said she'd gotten used to it. You've gotten used to insects feeding on your blood while you sleep? They don't hurt. You barely feel them. I went to the pharmacy and bought hydrocortisone for the welts on my arms and legs. The pharmacist looked at the bites and winced. Those are bedbug bites. You need a professional exterminator. I know. Your landlord is legally required to handle pest control. I know that too. I sent the landlord a formal email citing our tenancy agreement and the local council's housing standards. He replied with one line, I'll arrange something shortly. 2 more weeks passed. Nothing. I called the council myself. I filed a complaint. An environmental health officer came out 3 days later and confirmed the infestation was severe. He told me it was one of the worst he'd seen in a residential flat. He looked at Sophie's room, then at mine, then wrote something on his clipboard. Your landlord has 14 days to arrange professional heat treatment, or I'm issuing an improvement notice. The landlord called me that night. First time he called me in 6 weeks. You reported me to the council? You ignored me for 6 weeks. I was handling it. You weren't handling anything. I've been sleeping on the kitchen floor. That's a bit dramatic. I have over 40 bites on my body. He went quiet. Then I'll send someone this week. The exterminators came on Thursday. 2 men with industrial heaters and thermal equipment. They did a full inspection first. One of them pulled out Sophie's bed frame and stopped. This has been active for at least 8 to 10 months, he said, pointing at the layers of shed skins and fecal spotting behind the headboard. Possibly longer. This didn't start 5 months ago. I looked at Sophie. She was picking at her nails. How long have you actually known? She didn't answer. Sophie. Since before I moved in. Okay? Her voice cracked. I had them at my old flat. I thought they'd go away if I just kept washing my sheets. The room went very quiet. You brought them here. You moved in with bed bugs and didn't tell me. I didn't think they'd spread. They're parasites. Spreading is literally what they do. The heat treatment took 2 full days. Everything I owned went through industrial dryers. My mattress was destroyed. My bed frame had to be replaced. Books, clothes, shoes, everything had to be treated or thrown away. Total cost, the landlord was forced to cover $1,800. He sent me a text afterwards that said, I hope you're happy. I forwarded it to the council officer. Sophie moved out 3 weeks later. She left her mattress leaning against the skip outside. I watched the bin men refuse to take it. Before she left, she knocked on my door and said she was sorry. I just didn't want you to think I was dirty. I don't think you're dirty. I think you let bugs eat me alive for 5 months because you were too embarrassed to have a conversation. She didn't have a response to that. My new mattress arrived on a Saturday. I didn't sleep. I just lay there with the light on, checking the seams every few minutes. It took me 3 months to stop doing that.
I think disclose infestation immediately to roommates, hiding them cause preventable suffering and damage. What do you think?